Alright, let's get to the meat of the matter, and let's make the Polygon Collider actually be a Polygon Collider. Well, let's make it to where we can actually draw polygons, and then we can rotate the polygons, and then they will have the correct orientation and position according to where the sprite is. Let's do that now. First though, the missile. I realized that I had a colon here when really that should be a dot. It's not a huge deal because we don't have any parameters there, but I like to be thorough, and that's kind of what programmers are about, right? Is being thorough. So there we go. So how are we going to do this? Well, it's a good question. What will we need? Well, let's see. We probably want, when we create a new Polygon Collider, we probably want to pass in a set of vertices to tell where our points are for each of the points of the polygons, right? So that means we expect an array of vector 2D objects. Do this. So we need to store those, the original vertices, right? Original, and remember we'll have to scale them and everything. So the original unscaled vertices, and I'll say these vertices should be oriented around, or centered, let's say centered around the origin. So in other words, they're not translated. It's as if the position of this particular object was at 0, 0. And then we'll translate the vertices ourselves. Then we'll need, and if you remember, the PC draw function, the draw function that we're going to use is love.graphics. There's one called Polygon. So we'll have a line, and then we'll have, the way that these are arranged is a single flat array or flat table, which is basically just an array of xy values. So the first value is x, second value is y, third value is x, fourth value is y, like that. So the way that we're pulling them in is as vector 2D objects, and that has advantages. We're using vector 2s all over the place, so we're going to keep that. But for this, we're going to need our own set of draw. How about draw? Yeah, let's call them draw point. Draw array. Draw points. Well, draw points is fine. Draw points. So if that's the case, then we need to have something up here. Self.drawPoints equals an empty table. We're probably gonna want so these are the untranslated, unscaled vertices. We're probably going to want some scaled, basically. So like world vertices, so that we can, at any point when we need them, we actually need those. Scaled and translated vertices. We use these for collision protection. So we'll need those. So that's a little bit of work we're going to have to do. And we'll do that on every update. So we'll say update the, we need to update the polygons rotation and scale. So we can just loop through the vertices, just the plain old untranslated vertices, and we can do stuff. Basically, we can create our other list. Now, one thing we don't want to do is continue to recreate these lists the whole time. That's not a good thing. What that happened there. So we don't want to do that. So what we'll do here is at the beginning, when we new one of these up, we will size these guys appropriately, and then we'll just replace the things inside of them. That way, it won't cost us as much in terms of processing power and memory and stuff like that. So all we need to do really is for the self world vertices. These are still going to be vector 2Ds. So we'll just say self world vertices. We're just going to add one, which means we're going to add one to the thing, to our array, and we'll just create another vector 2. We don't have vector 2 up here, so we need to go and require that now. So it's just an empty vector 2. We're just putting something there to do that. And now, of course, the draw points, there will be, say there are 2 draw points for every vertex. X comma Y, basically. So our draw points are going to be something like this. So we do the same thing, right? So we say boom, we say +1. We're just going to tell them to 0 for now, but we do this twice because there are 2 draw points for every single vertex. Okay, so that's what we'll do here. Okay, now now we go back down here to update, right? What do we need to do? Well, if we say the first thing we probably, well, the first thing we need to do is scale our vertex, which wherever we're at. We could say scaled vert equals, and then we need to scale it. I'm just trying to think of how. Well, we don't. Yeah, we're going to create a new. I guess we are going to create a new vertex, aren't we? Well, no, we don't necessarily have to. Let's do this. Let's say self.worldPoly equals world poly of I, right? Because we're gonna translate all this into the world poly stuff. Let's say that is equal to, or I don't know how far we should go with this, but I'm gonna just go with me here. Let's set the x value to self.vertices of i.x times self transform.scalex. I think that's what we want to do, and then we'll do y for this. Now it's scaled, and still, but remember it's still centered about the origin because we're using these vertices here. And then what we really need to do is we need to take this rotate point that we have in utils, this guy. I think we need to make this into, I think we need to make this into a vector2 function. So 8. And let's, yeah, oh boy. Let's have it modified in place. So it rotates the vector 2 about the origin. The given angle. And I guess we could still have these. Let's do that. So how do we want to do this? Oh, let's see. That would be, and we don't need that. So this would be self.x, self.y. And we'll take this self, leave. Where are we here? Polygon Collider. We want to yeah, I guess we can leave these on here. Kind of weird, but we can do that. And we don't have to return the rotated point because we're just going to rotate. So this modifies the object in place, as we've said before. But since we're doing this, we should be able to just now, since we have our our scaled poly here, we should be able to say rotate, and then the angle, which is self.tr.angle, and then we could do for the translate. So when you do these things, when you scale, rotate, translate, you scale or rotate first before you translate. So you translate last. So that's what we're doing here with this transform dot. It's not actually, it's got tr. We're using tr.x and self. So we're adding that offset after the fact. We've kind of allowed that for that in the rotate, which is cool. So we're rotating those. So now our world poly vertex here is good. Now what we want is we want to have our draw points. So we say draw points of I. And now this is where it gets interesting because we're one based and yet we want to increment this. We need two of these, right? For every single one of I, we need two of these, which should just be I times 2 and then I times 2 plus 1. But since we are one based in Lua, we have to do it a little bit different. So we'll start with a 1 and we'll say 1 plus 2 times I minus 1. That will give us, whenever I is 1, we'll get 0 here, and then we'll get our 1 right here, which is exactly what we want. And then for our next point, all we do is we do the same thing, and then we add another 1 to it. So that's going to be x, world poly x, and then the world poly y. We'll check it for errors. No errors. And then let's see what we can do here as far as the test scene. The way we can do it is the following. Let's check on the player. So this won't be a rotated one, but we'll do it here. So let's go PC. Got a Polygon Collider, and we'll say PC, and we'll start putting in our values here. So we'll have a Vector 2, I believe, is unscaled. He's a 16 by 16 character, so we will do half of that since we're doing from the origin, so it's all half values, and we'll need 4 of those since we're just going to do a plain old rectangle. So that's the upper left corner of the rectangle. This is the upper right, lower right, and lower left. If I did it correctly. Let's run it and see if we get something horrible. Yes, we have some issues, of course. 34. Did we do something correct? Yeah. See anything wrong there, do you? Polygon Collider. What was it complaining about exactly? 34. Oh, forgot the multiplier. I'm thinking in terms of writing, aren't I? PC, not CC. Forgive me. Once again. Silly mistakes. Silly mistakes. Polygon Collider. So our draw points, let's print them. How many do we have? Draw points. Self. Draw points. Ah, look, we have 0. That's great. 0 draw points. Let's print our vertices up here. Print. How many vertices do we have? We must look and see how many vertices. Well, how about that, Jim? We've got no vertices. Oh, what did I do wrong there? What did I do wrong, Captain? Captain? Oh, I know. I know. This isn't a, we need a table. Right, so that fixed that one. Ah, many of these. What did we say? Oh, I swirled poly. I meant world vertices. Sounds like a bazaar or something. Okay, there we go. Look, there it is. So he has his little. He has it. And are we still drawing that? No, well, no. Excellent. So that works. Let's do grab this. And let's add one to our missile. The missile was, where is he? Missile. Oh, it's easier to do this. 124 by 80, so that will be 62 by 40. So all we do is minus 62 and 40, and then all we need to do is just replace all of these with. And then we should have a rotating bounding box for our missile. That is a separate component, which we can use to, and that's not working correctly at all, is it? The rotation isn't right, is it? It's just crazy. Look at that. Strangeness. I love it. Strangeness when things happen. When we get this fixed, it will be very cool, and it will have we'll be able to do some really cool stuff with it. A lot of the let's see. Vector self x sine angle. That should be correct. And then I thought we were setting that. Let's do this. So it should be at 0 whenever we... Oh, look at that. Which one was it saying? We don't care. I guess I need some parentheses here. Is that what's wrong? Yes. And okay, so oh no. Those aren't being done correctly. You can even see it without it being rotated. Oh, you know what? We can't do it like this. We need the following. Right? Because we're using those. So then we can say self.x equals new x, self.y equals new y. We're creating those again. And now that should be correct. And then we should be able to go into the Polygon Collider, put our offsets back in, and we should see a good... Oh, how about that, ladies and gentlemen? Now we have componentized all of our stuff here. And I think the next time what we can do is we can go and check, or we may create a physics, I don't know, some kind of physics entity thing that can check all of these kind of things for collision. I don't know. We will see about that next time. But there's one other thing I want to do, which is real quick, and that is we had something here in the entity class add. I want to get rid of that. And I think that should do it for today. Some good work. Good work, people. Good work. See you next time.